So, what are we discussing today? I mean, you were supposed to have planned out a list of topics, and then we're going to talk about those topics.
Yeah, well, I've been busy today looking up memes of Bernie Sanders at Biden's inauguration. I mean, that takes up a lot of time.
You've been looking at Bernie's... You can't... No.
Genuinely, I was just lying on my bed for about an hour, just scrolling through all of these memes of Bernie Sanders on his little chair with his mittens, just sat.
And this is your day's activity, is it?
I don't know why I find it so funny.
I mean, it is pretty good. I mean, it's just, he's got his... It's just... I like how he rocks up with his big old envelope and he's like, oh, it's like he's got like a list of items to do and he's got to pop to the post office next. He's like, oh, better get this out of the way.
He's got things to do afterwards. He's not messing around as that lad.
He's not going to let an inauguration get in his way, is he?
Well, no.
That's nice. Well, I'm glad you've been spending your time wisely.
If that meme version of him was in Rise of the Robots, it would suddenly be a very, very good game.
It would mean suddenly be a very, very good game.
Well, he'd just be in the background, just looking really pissed off.
It's already a very, very, very good game.
Don't start this.
I mean, if you put the Bernie Sanders DLC in, it would improve it even more. But it's already pretty peak. You know, you can't get much better.
I've got the box right here. They were so desperate to put reviews on the box that they actually put on the German reviews and the Spanish reviews and the French reviews as well.
What, did they put them in the origin languages?
Yeah.
So you can't, if you can't read the language, you can't read the review?
Yep.
Are you sure they just didn't think, oh, we'll just use one box for everywhere because we've spent so much money on the graphics because they're so amazing, but we can't afford to have different regionalised boxes. I mean, they had a good British review from, what was it, Amiga Power, who reviewed the game before it was out, and they were like, it's amazing! It's such an amazing game! And they haven't
PC Power
even played
gave it 93%.
Oh, that's a bit low.
Computer and Video Games gave it 90%. Ridiculous.
These magazines knew what they were talking about.
They had no idea.
Such a good game.
This box has been nibbled quite considerably, actually.
That's my box.
I know, I'm sorry.
Who's been nibbling it?
Not me, one of the rats, not me. I did just go around nibbling PC game boxes.
I wouldn't be surprised. It's a good game. Rise of the Robots novel.
Oh yeah, that's been nibbled to fuck. I need to buy another one.
For God's sake! Do you know how much those things have gone up in value now? Since we've been talking about it, people have obviously been buying it in droves. So I can't get another copy of that for the... I think I paid like 5 pence for that one, plus postage and packaging. But now it's like at least 10 or 15 pounds. It's like bloody hell. What else is on this list?
Double ghosts. So, a double ghost is when you die and you become a ghost, but then you become a ghost a second time after you die a second time. So, say, for example, you died right now and you became a ghost, and then you were brought back to life, but then someone got pissed off and killed you again. Then you'd be a double ghost, wouldn't you?
No, because you can't kill a ghost.
Yeah, you can.
You can't.
Yeah, you can, Peter.
Wait, look,
games like Castlevania and that lot have taught me anything, it's that you can kill ghosts. And once you kill one of those ghosts, they're a double ghost, aren't they? Because you can't kill what's already dead.
We've had this discussion before, and you said that if you died, and then you came back to life, and then you died again, that was a double ghost.
Yeah, well, double ghost is kind of like a broad... Well, you can't it's like undead. It's a broad term.
So it can apply... Look, if you die... and then you come back to life through resuscitation or whatever, and then you die again, that's still the same ghost. The ghost was there when you died, and then you came back to life and it disappeared, and then when you died again, the ghost reappeared. That's not a double ghost. You don't get a double ghost situation.
It doesn't disappear, though, does it?
Of course it disappears, because it comes back into your soul.
No, Peter,
it recombines with your soul. And then you are alive again.
No, that's not how ghosts work.
You're not alive, and then you meet your own ghost and go, oh, hello.
No. Well, maybe. I mean, people have talked about stuff. It's this phenomenon called doppelgangers, which is an actual thing where people see themselves.
No, that's a different person. That's like if you meet someone and you...
No, it's not. It's
identical.
The same person. I remember seeing a programme ages ago, and there was a guy, and he was in a van, and he was driving down a street, and he was just having a nice time. And then he looked over, and there was an exact same van as him, and he was in it, with the exact same facial hair, exact same clothes and everything. And they looked at each other.
So wait, you're saying that you saying that a ghost was driving that van, the identical van?
Yeah.
So there's a ghost bombing down the high street in a transit.
Look,
just
if you
delivering
die,
goods.
Then there's a ghost. And then if you die again, then you're a double ghost, because the instance of you as a ghost the first time continues to exist, because a ghost isn't a consciousness, it's an echo.
So your ghost, it goes on doing the stuff you were going to do. So it buys a ghost transit van, it buys some ghost goods, and it goes and delivers them, does it?
Look, Peter,
it's like
I don't make the rules.
I've got a ghost DPD parcel for you here, mate. It's like, I'll sign for that.
Well, no, because obviously the ghost version of you isn't going to deliver a parcel to you, is it?
No, he's not. You're right. What's he going to do in his transit van, then?
It's an echo. It doesn't have a conscious thought. Ghosts aren't conscious.
What do you mean? What, a transit echo?
Yes! Yeah,
where's
literally,
it
yes.
from?
People have seen ghost vehicles and things like that before. That's definitely a thing.
Look, maybe if someone's in a car and they have an accident in the car and the car is destroyed, obliterated in the process, and the person dies, then they're resurrected with the ghost car and they're a ghost. But if someone dies and they're brought back to life, and they're like, oh, thank you for resuscitating me, I'll go back to being a delivery driver, some ghost doesn't go on living as a delivery driver concurrently.
Yes, it does.
It does
yes,
not.
Yes, it does. Yes,
no, your
it
ghost
does.
goes back into your soul, if we're presuming ghosts are real, and then you carry on. And then when you die again, and you properly die, then your ghost comes back.
Right,
and it doesn't have a transit
bullshit.
van.
No, okay. Look, Peter, I think we should open this up to our listeners, because so my other argument is, right. So you're a zombie. Okay, so you're dead, and now you're a zombie. Okay, but then if you're killed as a zombie, then you're double dead, aren't you?
No, you're not double dead. You
yes,
died the first time.
You are literally double dead.
No,
How are you not double dead? If you're a zombie and then you get killed, you're double dead.
Of course, you're not double dead. You became a
God.
zombie, and you as a person, your essence died when you became a zombie, and then the zombie is like just a thing, a possessed thing.
But you're
the
still
zombie isn't really
dead.
alive. It's just like
but you're still double dead.
You're not double dead.
You are double dead. Look, zombies, like, you could maybe bring them back to being who they were, couldn't you?
I don't know. I don't think you probably could.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure all of the zombie things, films and games and stuff, they're all looking for a cure, aren't they?
I mean, even if you did, you'd have no skin. I mean, you'd be like, oh shit, I'll give it a miss, thanks, wouldn't you? You wouldn't be like,
well, I mean, you could probably just clear that up with some antibiotics.
I mean, have you seen The Dark Man, the film,
No.
The Dark Man? His face kind of degenerates, his horrible accident, and then he finds some cure to restore his face. It lasts a few hours. I mean, I don't think you could do that.
So he's not double dead then, is he? He's not even single dead.
No, he's the Dark Man.
Yeah, but he's not even single dead.
Well, he's not. No, he's just in a pretty bad state.
So what's your point?
Well, my point is it's unrealistic. And it happens in that film, but I don't think you could regenerate flappy skin using antibiotics. Are the topics you've come up with for this podcast pretty much based around ghosts, zombies? Are we going on to more supernatural phenomena?
So, have you heard of Pokemon Black?
Okay, well, I mean, I bought you a copy, so...
Yeah. Okay, so the story of Pokemon Black is somebody got hold of this version of Pokemon, the original version, but it's cursed. Yeah. Why are you? Have you left the microphone?
No, I'm still
have
here.
Have you gone
what do you
away?
mean?
Oh, okay.
No.
You sounded like you had just left.
No, I'm taking on board what you're saying.
Okay, right.
So they got Pokemon and it's now possessed.
Well, they don't know that it's possessed, so they turn it on, and you go through the normal gubbins at the start. Professor Oak says, "Oh, what's your name? I've forgotten what your gender is. I've forgotten how old you are." All that kind of stuff. The Pokemon that you get is a ghost.
Right.
And it's a single ghost, so not a double ghost.
Right.
And it's a Pokemon just called Ghost. And the creepy thing is that even though you can collect other Pokemon and everything, when you fight other people's Pokemon or Pokemon in the wild, those Pokemon actually die rather than just being knocked out. And then every time you kill a trainer out in the field, when you come back to that space later, there's a little gravestone.
Okay.
That's creepy, isn't it? I mean, that's kind of the end of the anecdote, but I mean, it's creepy.
Is there a topic for discussion here? So Because I mean, I'm very vague on how Pokemon works. So this ghost Pokemon kills a trainer, and then there's a grave.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't kill. Well, no, he does. So you have, you know, how the whole point of the game is you collect little animals and you fight them against each other. You have
which seems brutal. It seems horrible.
They're cartoon animals, and they're quite happy. It's fine. And
why are they happy to be captured and then pitted against each other? Well, but as a concept, it's like, why would you find these? Where are these animals? Do we just find them on the rocks and stuff?
Well, they're just sort of hanging around, or sometimes there's legendaries that attack you. You know.
And then don't you grab them and then put them in like a ball?
And then you become friends with them.
Which seems very claustrophobic.
Look.
I mean, wouldn't you say that was quite claustrophobic?
Look, you're getting away from the whole point, which is that there's a cursed version of Pokemon, okay? End of anecdote.
What?
Have you heard of the Great Emu War?
No.
Right, okay,
is
so
this
in
to
Australia,
do with that
right?
puppet?
It's the only war that there's ever been in Australia.
Okay.
So basically, Australians were just kind of hanging out, having a nice time. And then these emus showed up, and they were like, what are you doing? And these emus, basically, they just started chasing people out of towns. And it got to a point where they actually brought in the army to try and deal with all these emus. And in the end, they just let the emus have all of this land because they couldn't defeat them.
So are you saying that Australia is inhabited by emus?
I'm not sure about that, but that is true.
So Australia was taken over by emus?
Yeah.
And, I mean, where are you getting these facts from?
Look, all right,
I don't think that happened.
It's true, it's the thing. It did happen. I learned about it a while ago.
What do you mean? Where from?
Look.
Australia was taken over by emus?
No! Okay, well, it wasn't like all of Australia. It was quite a lot of it. It just went mental, basically. There's emus everywhere, like, just completely ransacking the place, going mental.
What do you mean they're ransacking the place?
Well, they were. They were going mental, like emus. They do not muck about. They've got, like, big long legs that are all spiky.
Right. So they're just breaking into shops and stuff and stealing...
Yeah. And they were hurting people. I think, like, one person died. It was crazy.
What's only one person died?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's more than you'd expect.
I mean, no,
surely.
From your story, it sounds like thousands of emus descended upon Australia, absolutely decimated the place.
This was in, like... It was in the early 1900s.
No, it wasn't.
Like 100 years
this
ago.
didn't happen.
It was.
No,
Peter, it
nonsense.
was. There was emus, and they were going mental. And they brought in the army to try and deal with it. And they couldn't, and they got beaten. Yeah, the army came in. The Australian army went in to try and deal with these emus. And they were just going mental. They were going absolutely mental.
This is absolutely...
It's not. It's true,
nonsense.
Peter. It's true.
The Emu War, oh come on, also known as the Great Emu War, was a nuisance wildlife management military operation undertaken in Australia over the latter part of 1932. No, it's not. It's just a war on emus. Because people...
It's not. It was an emu
war. And to cover it up,
it wasn't a war on emus.
It's a war on emus. It's like a war on terrorism. People say, "Oh, these emus are running amok," which is literally what it says here, and they took a load of emus out. Poor emus. Absolutely they didn't ransack Australia.
All right. Well, no, because emus are vicious bastards.
Well,
they
leave them alone
are.
then. They got stuff to do.
Yeah, I know, but they were getting involved. They were running onto farmers' lands and being like, and kicking.
Well, how are they supposed to know it's farmers' lands? They're just knocking about. They're like, oh, this is emu land. So they killed all the emus.
Well, they did end up killing quite a few emus, yeah. But in the end, they lost.
So is there loads of emu ghosts knocking about Australia now?
There are, yeah.
And is there double emu ghosts as well?
There are single ghosts.
Well, so there's no double emu ghosts.
How could there be double emu
so
ghosts?
Emus, they only have a single ghost.
Well, who's resuscitating
What about if it gets
emus?
electrocuted and it dies for a brief second and then it comes back to life?
Well, in that case, it would be a
So
double
what are these double emu
ghost,
ghosts doing, and how do they differ from the single emu ghosts?
I told you. It's like the guy in the transit van. It's an echo.
There's loads of emus knocking around,
thing.
ransacking the place. Well, the single ghosts are echoes as well. So what is an echo?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
No, you've completely got
So some emus will have two ghosts. That's what you're saying.
Well, yeah.
And there'll be two versions of that emu ransacking the place. All right, look. Next topic. There's this new game on the Commodore 64 in development, and it's called My Day on the Highway, and it's been developed by someone on Twitter called Cobb PG, and it's phenomenal. It's got so you're this car and you're weaving through traffics, but the road and the trees around it just come towards you in such a rapid and smooth fashion. It looks like a modern day mobile game or something. It's incredible. Best looking game I've seen on the Commodore 64 by a mile. Okay, no. What else is on the list?
Well, I've got 2 gaming questions, but I'm more interested in asking you this one. So let's try and work out what this is. Exploding head syndrome, right? It's a thing that everybody gets. You know that thing when you're falling asleep and suddenly it's like bang in your head and you're like, holy shit, what is that? That's
Bloaty Head on Theme Hospital.
No, it's not.
It's literally the same thing.
Hospital.
You called it...
People don't know what it is. It's this really... It's the same thing, when you're falling asleep and you think you're falling off a tree.
You dream that you're falling and you're like, shit, I'm falling. And it's such a scary situation, you wake yourself up.
Do you think that's connected to
I've never had exploding head. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you have.
No,
you must have done. You must have woken up all of a sudden because there was a massive bang in your head.
No. What do you mean a massive bang in your head? What, like you...
when you're like, oh shit, you wake up and you're like, oh my god.
You literally hear the bang. When you're dreaming about something with an explosion and the bang wakes you up.
It's like a proper intense thing. It's not just dreaming about... an emu kicking you and it making a loud noise.
If I dreamt about an emu kicking me, I wouldn't wake up because it's not enough to startle me, let alone wipe out an entire country. So...
It is, actually. Emus can kill you with a kick.
I wouldn't stand close to one anyway. But I've never had an exploding head.
This is another thing that people listening to this will go,
no,
they're talking crap.
Because every time we've polled your double ghost thing, everyone's like, this is nonsense. It's a single ghost.
That's not true. Actually, it was about 50-50.
The thing about falling exists. Like, you think... Like, I often...
Oh, so because you've experienced it, that means it exists. If you haven't experienced it, then it doesn't exist.
That's right, yeah.
Like sexism.
What? Well, that exists.
Does it wake you up in the middle of the night?
Sometimes I get so worried about it, but I wake up and I'm like, oh, shit.
Right, so I found out about something which would definitely be a thing that you would do, 100%. Okay. It's called a spite house.
I've got a couple of those. I often go and sit in them. I'm like, fucking hell. That bastard.
A spite house is an actual thing. It's when somebody builds a house purely to spite their neighbours. So, for example, some bloke owned a driveway in between 2 houses, and because he owned it and he hated the neighbours, he built a house on it. So there's just this really, really thin house, so you can sit in and see.
I'd do that. Can I join him? Can I go in there and be like, hey, I'll help you with this? This has literally just happened to me. At the end of my garden, there used to be a bungalow, and people moved in like a year ago. The first thing they did was chop down all the trees at the end of their garden, so now it looks terrible. So there used to be these massive trees. And then they thought, oh, we don't want a bungalow, so they've built a fucking massive 2-story house. And it's like, if you wanted a house, buy a house. Don't just dump a house at the end of my garden. So now, I look at the end of the garden and there's just this massive structure there. And I'm livid. So I'm gonna build like a 3-story house at the end of my garden just to spite them. And then I'll sit at the top and that will be my spite house. I'm going to be livid in there.
Or you're actually going to use it.
I'm going to get to the top floor and just be absolutely raging about their house. They'll look up and just see me, and I'll make the top story is going to be glass walled, so they'll see how angry I am, and I'll just be seething in there. And then I'll do that for like an hour every day, and then job done. I think it'll get the point across.
Yeah,
I like the concept. It's nice.
Yeah, it's a lot of effort to go to piss off your neighbour, though, isn't it? I don't think it is.
I think it's a reasonable amount of effort. I think if they've done something to annoy you enough, then build a spite house. Some people build like spite fences and stuff, don't they? So they have like their neighbours piss them off, so they build like a 20-foot fence.
Well, yeah, this is that ridiculous programme I've been watching recently, My Neighbour from Hell, and it's all crap like that. It's the most pathetic, petty stuff ever, and it's hilarious.
These are the sorts of programmes you watch, aren't they? Just absolutely mindless programs.
Well, yeah.
Well, you
Shut
do.
up,
You
not
watch like My
mindless.
£9,000 Life and stuff like that. It's just
What's
people
wrong
going
with
like,
that?
"Oh, I need to lose weight," and it's like, "Yeah, okay, you probably do."
Yeah, but they need to go through a lot of
Then they
emotional
go and see that
trauma
doctor, and he
first.
pops his head round the door, and he's like, "Hello, I'm doctor," and then he goes away again.
He does.
Literally, what he does every time I've seen him, that's what he does. And it's like, you go talk to me, and he's gone. He's just out halfway down the road.
Do you have a favourite secret or Easter egg in a video game? What?
I like it in Alex Kidd in Miracle World when you punch and you've got a massive fist.
That's not a secret, though. That's
Well, of course,
literally
it's a
what you
secret.
do
Before I
for the
played it, I
entire
knew
game.
nothing about it.
It's not a secret.
And then I went into it, and I was like, "My God, look at the size of his fist! It's the size of his body. Obviously, it's a secret fist. He must keep it in his pocket. And when people come past, he's like, whoa! Whoops out this massive fist.
It wouldn't fit in his pocket, though. His fist suddenly becomes enormous.
That's a secret,
somehow.
isn't it? Clearly, he's kept that secret for some time.
It's not. No, that's not what it means.
What does it mean?
No. Look.
He's not holding an Easter egg.
It's not a secret. It's not an Easter egg.
Okay, well, I like it in Egghead when you fall and your egg cracks. Well, it's
That's
literally
not
an egg.
It's not. Oh, for God, no! It's not an
Look.
Easter egg. That's not a secret. Look, I'm making the rules here. I asked the question.
Okay, well, I mean, I quite like Doom when you complete it and you get like an end sequence.
Okay, I was thinking more along the lines of in the second one where you can kill John Romero's head.
Oh, there is an
quite
Easter
good.
egg, isn't there? Yeah. You can clip inside the spider thing, can't you?
I can't remember how you do it.
There's
I
something.
just remember that.
Well, there's like a
you did
place you go. There's like a secret room, and then there's a room, and there's his head on a spike, isn't there? Yeah, that's quite cool. I don't really know a lot about game Easter eggs. Yeah, I can't. All I can think of is Alex Kidd's hand, just his massive hand.
Okay, can you think of a game which is nice but absolutely enrages you?
A game that's nice but enrages me.
So the reason why I'm asking this is because I've been playing Viva Pinata recently, which is an adorable game where you collect a bunch of pinatas and put them in a garden. And they all sort of hang out and they're all very happy and they make friends with each other and they eat fruit and stuff. But then this knobhead in a mortarboard comes along and just smashes the shit out of them for no reason. It takes forever to get some of the good pinatas, like literally hours. And then this wanker shows up and just starts going mental. And the thing is, you can't use your shovel to hit him and kill him like you can with his minions. You just have to watch him murder your pinatas. It's absolute
Well, that's the point
bullshit.
of the pinata. What's
Anyway,
the problem? That's literally what they're for.
Rage quit that. Yeah, but it takes forever to get them in your garden, and then once they're in there, then you feed them stuff, and then you can send them
How
to
are you
parties.
encouraging pinatas to are these things alive?
Yeah.
Why are you smashing to a thing which is alive with a massive board?
I'm not smashing them. I'm not smashing them. There's some idiot who keeps coming to my garden and
No, they're not
fucking shit up
pinatas.
without...
If they're alive, they're not pinatas.
They are pinatas. Well, they're alive pinatas. They're like... There's mice and birds and...
No, someone's
bear,
made a horrible
and I got a
mistake. These are
pig.
real animals.
No.
They can't be smashed with a board.
They're not. They're definitely pinatas, because then when this knobhead smashes them, they explode in a load of sweets, and all the other pinatas appear, and they try and eat the sweets, and then the pinata becomes a sort of ethereal thing and goes to the outside of the garden and becomes whatever animal it was again, and then you've got to try and lure the fucker back into your garden. It's an absolute nightmare.
The pinatas turn into ghosts.
No, they don't. They just leave the garden.
But they're alive. So you can smash them to pieces when they're in your garden.
Well, you don't want to do that, because you want to feed them and send them to a party to make money. But then there's this idiot. So yeah, it is bullshit. I've rage quit it.
Do they once they go to the party and they get smashed to pieces, do they die? Well, how do they get out
No.
of the party? Surely they'll be in pieces. This game sounds insane.
It's an absolute nightmare. It's genuinely a nightmare.
I'll tell you what games annoy me. It's all Nintendo games, pretty much. Because all of them are so absolutely twee to the point of being sick. They all have like their little ditties, like Mario, beep, 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 beep. And it's just like this plumber bombing along with his bloody dungarees on. And what's he doing? Where's he trying to get to? It's not like he's going to another plumbing job, is it? He's just... What's his objective? What is that about?
Why is that
It's
enraging
just
to you?
annoying. It's just so cutesy. It's like, okay, fine, you want to create a platform game. Or have a massive sword or like a vicious attack or something. Don't have a plumber with dungarees just bouncing on toadstools. What's going on with that? Livid. I'll say livid.
Probably. Well, actually, Animal Crossing, I've rage quit that. That's like the quintessential nice, calming, relaxing game. But it's not nice and calming and relaxing, right? When on the Sunday morning, it's real-time Sunday morning, because it works in real time. On Sunday morning, I get up early so I can go onto the Switch and then go and talk to a hog who's got snot coming out of her nose and buy like 20 odd grand's worth of turnips, because you're supposed to wait until they become more expensive so you can sell them to the raccoon and make a load of profit, right? But then I went and forgot. I forgot about the turnips, and if you leave the turnips in your inventory for 7 days, they go rotten. So I lost like 20 grand's worth of turnips because I completely forgot, right? And they go rotten on the strike of midnight. So I'm there remembering at about 2 minutes to midnight, absolutely pelting down the stairs, trying to find the switch, try and find the charger because it's not turning on. And I just get it turned on about 5 minutes past midnight. Turnips are fucked. I was absolutely livid.
Look, this is realistic, isn't it?
I haven't played it
it's
since.
realistic. It's playing out in real time. So if you can't get your turnips
Absolute
sold,
bullshit.
that's your problem.
I had a lot on that week. I was busy. And then you come back and you're like, oh, great, I'm going to make... Because the reason why I bought that many turnips that time was because the previous week I'd played it safe and only bought like, I don't know, a couple of $100 bells worth, and ended up making about $2,000 out of it. So I was like, this is a good investment.
You should have made a note. You should have set an alarm. Made like a calendar entry. Because that's quite a significant amount of money to lose.
It is.
I mean, the main problem
Livid.
with Animal Crossing is Tom Nook. Just absolute profiteering scumbag who lures you to this island and then he makes you work and pay for everything directly to him. What? But it's so... You get like a tent to start with and then he makes you get a mortgage. It's like you can't do certain things on his island unless you take out a mortgage with him. And I tried saving up all the money, so I had all the money to buy a house outright, and he's like, no, you've got to take a mortgage. What kind of arsehole is that?
Well, but then you can just
I don't care, it's the point. I don't want to be in debt to him. Because once you're in debt to him, you're in his pocket. I don't want to be in Tom Nook's pocket.
Oh my god, I actually sent you bells on that game so you would buy a house.
But I had the money. I thought, okay, now he'll say you can buy a house outright. Which is bullshit enough, because I'm still paying him for my house, which I'm constructing. And, like, I couldn't even buy it outright. He's like, no, you need a mortgage. Just so he's got that little advantage over you. Just so he's got that little bit of power.
Yeah, but you can pay it off immediately.
No,
you don't need to worry about stamp duty or anything like
in
that.
His pocket. Because he's lured you in. He's like, oh, yeah, you were in debt to me once, weren't you? It's like, once you're there, you can't pull yourself back out.
What, you think that in the middle of the night you're going to be in your tent and he's just going to sidle up to the door flap and be like, remember when you were...
It's not like that. It's like a mind... It's a mind game.
That's what it sounded like.
It's a mind game. He's playing mind games with us. He's a sick individual. He's probably got a lot of things wrong with him. Why are you even on this island in the first place? He's like, oh, come and have a nice life.
Because
then you're just working for him.
Nice holiday.
For peanuts. I like that game except for Nook. If Nook could fuck off, happily play it.
How come you don't complain about the owl?
What's wrong with the owl? He's
The owl
running a
in the
museum. What's the problem? But the owl...
Because, I mean, all he wants... He doesn't pay you for anything. You take him a thing and he goes, oh, thanks, I'll put it in a museum.
But the owl also doesn't make you do anything. It's just like, oh, if you want to help the museum, you can. And it's it's no different to donating to the computer museum, is it? I mean, it's like, oh, okay, I'll help. It's a good cause, so we help the owl. He's not profiteering like Nook. He's not an absolute dirtbag. He's just a nice owl with a museum. And I respect him. He's a good lad. I mean, I haven't played that game for months now because I'm so angry about Nook still.
I haven't played it either because of the turnip.
Well, exactly, right? Games shouldn't do that. They shouldn't make you livid. So angry.
The really annoying thing that I found was that with the owl, when you give him a bug, he goes, oh, gross, oh, but I'll take it, but thanks, but and you're like, mate, I could have sold that for like 10 grand.
But he's like me. He's like an item hoarder. He's like, oh, okay, I'll take it. It's like you feel obliged to take it and put it in your collection. I totally relate to him, if I'm honest. See, this is the thing about modern games. It's just they create rage. Like, can you imagine a Spectrum game doing this? Any game from the 80s where you had like a scenario where it was so rage-inducing that you wouldn't play the game again.
I mean, there's loads of games like that.
But that's because of mechanics, isn't it? That's because of like, I messed up at this level and I'll try again later. It's not because of like the sheer principle of what's going on in the game. Should we do like an end bit for the podcast? Should we say, okay, bye. Okay. Sure. Okay, thank you for listening. Bye-bye.
Why that
Hello?
accent? What even is that accent?
What?
No.
Bye-bye? Thank you for listening to our podcast. Stay tuned for... What's our podcast called? It's Octanerdle. Hello. Thank you for listening to our podcast, Octanerdle. It's bye from me, Nostalgia Nerd.
And it's goodbye from me, Octavius.
See you soon. Goodbye.